thank you, and thank you so much for being here. I'm not a great speaker. What I really like is having conversations with you guys, and those of you who've been here before knows how we run this. What I'm really looking for is having a good dialogue and a conversation. So today we're going to look at what is in our water. So I think all of us have a sense what's in our water, yeah? How many of you feel really comfortable about your drinking water? Oh, great, good for you. Good for you, Donna. All right, good job. Okay, so what I decided to do is actually look at, so actually this is the resource I use online, and there's a website, so all of you is accessible to all of you. And what I really try to do always in right now and also in the past is to use information from the government. So it's not wild environmentalist sort of like claims. So this is actually a database compiling all the information that all the different water departments have submitted to the Department of Health. So it's just a compilation of information for the Department of Health. So we're going to look at different cities in the area. So this is Pasadena. So the way to read it is that, so the national average is, so we have exceed health guidelines. How many chemicals in Pasadena water that exceeds the health lines? There's 11 of them. The average for the nation is 4. And health standards exceeded is 0. And what's the difference? Anybody have an idea what that is? So one is health guidelines. One is a standard. So what is that saying to you?
It's got 11 more chemicals than it's supposed to.
Okay, so thank you for having this dialogue with me. Okay, great. So this is really...
I think I know.
Okay. So communication is never perfect, right? The only way we know that we're getting actually the same thing is by dialoguing, right? Thank you, yes.
It has 11 pollutants that it shouldn't, and it has no chemicals to help eliminate the pollutants.
Okay, thank you so much. So this really helps us clear things. So what it actually says is that there are all kinds of chemicals in the environment, right? It's like tens and thousands of chemicals in the environment. Do we test all of them?
No.
No, we can't possibly test all of them. There's way too many. So we only test some of them, and do we have standards for all of them?
You could if you can't test them all.
No, we don't have standards for all of them at all. So we don't test them, we don't have standards for all of them. And other standards really are optimal for your health. Not necessarily. So that's what this chart is saying to you. What it's saying is that, so there are some of them have standards, even though the standards are not exceeded. In other words, you're allowed to have 5% of, I'm just exaggerating, right, percent of toxins in your drink. And that is legal, right? So then that's a legal limit. There's another limit that's what is optimum for you, what would be good for your health guidelines. So there are two different things, so health guidelines and standards. So your drinking water can be legal, but still be bad for you, unhealthy, all right? So even though, so they have tested, they found, they conduct all these tests and found 22 pollutants. There's no, none of the guidelines have been exceeded. So 0 exceeding standard guidelines, but 11 of them have exceeded the health guidelines. Does that make sense now? Right. So they found 22 chemicals. None of them exceeds the standards, but some of them, 11 of them have exceeded health guidelines. In other words, they don't think that's healthy for you. Right? And the national average is 4 exceeding the health guidelines. So compare it to the rest of the country in terms of their health guidelines, we're not doing so good in Pasadena. Okay. Next one, please. So here are actually some of the chemicals that have been tested. So the red dot shows exceeding legal limits. So you can see that none of them, there's no red dots there. But yellow dots is exceeding health limits. So you see lots of yellow dots, right? So you might just want to sort of take a real quick look and take a picture and put it in your memory and those chemicals. This is Pasadena. We're looking at just Pasadena right now. Yes, yes, chloroform. Mm-hmm. Your special cocktail. Next one.
Is that arsenic on the bottom?
Yes. Arsenic is one of the very common contaminants found in drinking water. So then we're looking at Glendale. So once again, so we have Glendale. It's a little worse than Pasadena. So 18 chemicals exceeding health guidelines, and 3 of them actually exceeding standards.
So it's even worse.
They're a little worse. Next one. So here are the specifics. So the red ones are showing you where it's gone. So each dot represents 1 month, right? Data from 1 month. And again, I want you to sort of look at the top ones. Take a mental picture of all of them, but we're going to focus for a little while for just the top ones.
What's that very, very tall one, say, for word? Try something letters?
It's coral,
Trihalomethanes.
and we're going to actually look at that.
Must be that one.
Next one, please. And here's Los Angeles. Again, same thing, right? Sort of everybody's familiar with the rows and columns now of this table. Next one, please. So again, they have a bunch of exceeding. Yes.
There's also a discrepancy between the number of tests conducted and versus
Yes.
the national average. Is that part of this issue in terms of how much has been done?
Yeah, definitely. It will be part of the issue. Depends how much testing we do.
They've
Yeah.
done very different.
A number, yeah, because depending on the funding and different, all kinds of issue comes in, right? So next one, please. So to understand some of the top ones that have been showing up in Los Angeles, in Pasadena, and Glendale, we have to understand how we clean our water. How do we treat our water? So when we get water from nature, what do we do to make it safe for us to drink, right? So what we do is we put some chemicals in it, so that would sort of combine with the stuff that flows in the water and make it sink to the bottom. And once it sinks to the bottom, we put it through a filtration. Once it gets through a filtration, we disinfect it. And we disinfect it with, does anybody know what? Chlorine. Good job, right? Good for you. You guys, all right, with chlorine, good for you. So, next one, please. The problem is with this water we get from the state project, the state water project, it contains a lot of bromide ions, and that comes from the agricultural runoff, from the stuff that we use in agriculture. And when we get that water, we treat it with chlorine. What it does, it forms bromide, which is carcinogenic. Yes?
I had 3 miscarriages living in Pasadena.
Sorry.
I'm like, wow. Unbelievable.
Sorry. So the PWP has been asked by the state to lower this level. And notice what that says. So maximum contaminant goal is also abbreviated as MCGL usually, and that is set at 0. And what does that mean? That means even a little bit in it is really, really bad for you. Right? So the state's has asked Pasadena to lower that level, and how can we do that? Remember, how do we treat our water? All we do is do what? Make this stuff floating, combine with chemicals so they settle, and we filter that out and we treat it with chlorine. Does it take out bromine ions? No. Does it take out any of some of you who were here last time, the endocrine disruptors? No. So then, how do we reduce the level? How can we reduce the level? And we have different sources of water. We have water coming from Colorado River. We have water coming from the state water project. We have water coming from Owens Valley. And we have water coming from the ground, from our groundwater. The only way that we can really lower this level is by using less state water project water.
Using less state water project.
Yeah, we drink a whole cocktail of water from different places. And the only way we can lower this is by using more groundwater or more Colorado River water.
But I think some of the basins here are kind of dry.
That they are what?
Dry.
They are dry right now. The thing about groundwater is that 40%, now is only 35% of the water we use, that we drink from Pasadena is from the ground. This water has been accumulated here for thousands of years in the past. It's not a reflection of current weather conditions, but a reflection of past weather conditions.
So deep water, some kind of deep well, is that?
In the groundwater, well, that's one issue, that's one way. So we're going to keep looking at all the different issues one at a time. That's one piece of it. Next, please. Now, this is from the EPA. So what I've listed is EPA, the disinfection byproducts is regulated by the EPA. Are the lists the same?
Are they the same from what?
From the one that we had before?
No, the bottom one is
Go back to the previous slide. These are the byproducts that we have here in Pasadena. And next one is the one that's regulated by the EPA. They're not the same. So again, legal water does not necessarily mean safe water. Next one, please. So we're going to look at Monrovia because Lisa said she was going to come and she lives in Monrovia, so I added Monrovia. So Monrovia actually has a, doesn't look so bad, compared to Pasadena. So you feel better now? Good. So, and the next one, please. So here are the ones that are found in Monrovia. So again, they actually have times that's exceeding legal limit. And you'll see several of them that says, like, any level is legal because there's no standard set for them at all. Right? So once again, I want you to take a picture and look at the chemicals that are in them. Because what I've done is I grouped them into two groups. So first we looked at the disinfection byproduct function of water treatment. Now I'm looking at something else. Next one, please. So Alhambra, so very similar story. So so once again, pay attention.
Like these industrial, these small industries, plating companies, and the this and the that, Lockheed, or all of these. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into the.
There are lots of stuff.
Right?
Actually, a Superfund site, does everybody know what a Superfund site is?
Bad news.
Right. One of the biggest Superfund sites is here, is groundwater contamination. So next one, please. Arcadia. So again, we exceed the national average in terms of chemicals that exceeds health guidelines. Next one, please. So again, notice the top ones. Next one, please. Monterey Park. Monterey Park's not doing so good. Next one, please. So we got arsenic is coming up again. Next one, please. So what I've done was I tried to pull out the ones that are common to all the cities that we looked at in this area. So first we look at the disinfectant ones as like Pasadena, Glendale, and Los Angeles, but all those cities also have the following three contaminants. Right? So I'm gonna. So what you're looking at is actually a building that was a metal degreasing building, so they've been contaminating the groundwater, and this is a team from USGS trying to drill and pull out the samples from the ground to study the extent of groundwater contamination. And what's interesting was also I wanted to find some products that contain them. So I looked up like products for degreasing products, and they all advertise they're being green, safe degreasing products, but they do not list their ingredients. I thought it was really interesting. So next one, please. So here's another one that's in all the cities that we looked at. And one of the sources is from dry cleaning.
Perchlorate.
Mm-hmm.
It's called perchlorate.
No, this is different from perchlorate.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
How does that get into the water?
It gets from industry and also dry cleaning. So the chemical they use in dry cleaning, when they're done, it gets back into the system.
And then there's some dry cleaning places that say that they're more environmental.
Yeah, they all say that. They all say that. Once again, I try to say, okay, so what are you using? And nobody